Let's bring in our friend, Dr. Amish Adalja now. Doc, there's a bit of resignation, I think, from a lot of people. I know as I've talked to my friends, these are folks who are saying, hey, you know, I've had to live my life. I need to start doing things the way I always have. I will probably get a mild case of COVID, people are saying. I'll recover and then just sort of move on. For folks who are vaccinated and boosted now, are people right to just start to lean into that line of thinking?
I do think people are right to lean into that. They can be assured of the fact that when they get their inevitable breakthrough infection with Omicron or some other variant, it's going to be mild, something that probably won't even cause them to call their doctor. And I think that's a victory because this wasn't a virus that was going to be eliminated or eradicated. Our goal was to tame it, to shift the spectrum of illness towards the mild side. And that's exactly where people who are fully vaccinated are. It's the unvaccinated that are taking up ICU beds, that are crushing our hospitals. And I think we have to kind of realize that there's a two-track pandemic, and the best way to risk calculate is to be fully vaccinated, and then I think go about your life according to your own risk preferences.
Meanwhile, we are seeing these exploding COVID case numbers right now, but often I think there's a point that sort of gets lost, and we'll put up a graphic here so people can see. This is New York City we're looking at here, for example. You look at this chart of new cases per 100,000 people. That orange line you see there is among vaccinated people, rising a bit, obviously. The purple line, though, is among unvaccinated people, which has literally gone through the roof here as far as this graphic is concerned. There's a similar chart that looks at hospitalizations. We'll put that on the screen here as well. Again, the orange line, vaccinated people, looks almost like no real increase there. But boom, you got that purple line again. Unvaccinated folks, hospitalizations are exploding, as you just alluded to. So, doctor, especially when it comes to hospitalization, is it worth repeating that fact over and over again, that there's a staggering difference between people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated in hopes that unvaccinated people will sort of come around?
I do think it's worth repeating because it clearly is a major difference. If you're fully vaccinated, the virus is going to treat you very differently. And when you look at the hospital, and I round at the hospital frequently, it is people that are unvaccinated that are there, that are in the emergency department, that are in the ICU, that are on regular floor beds, that are needing monoclonal antibodies for the most part. So we really have to emphasize the fact that this vaccine is life-changing for those who get it. It makes COVID-19 not a threat to them anymore. And when we talk about these hospitals struggling all over the world, and all over this country, it's unvaccinated people who are predominantly taking up those beds. And I think it's important to emphasize that the vaccines really, really work at what they're meant to do.
You know, I do want to ask you, too, about boosting the booster, if you will. Dr. Fauci says that it's really too soon to start talking about a possible second booster. But there's new data from the British that shows that booster protection starts to fall off after about 10 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean you won't be protected, obviously, against severe disease, but should we be talking about a second booster shot, especially when we think about older folks or people who have compromised immune systems?
I think it's premature to talk about fourth doses for the general population. When it comes to the immunocompromised, I think we have to handle them differently because they may not respond so well to vaccines. So they may indeed need more frequent boosters or the use of that long-acting AstraZeneca monoclonal antibody. But for healthy people, we're really just boosting to prevent mild illness. And I don't that's a strategy. I think our goal has been to prevent severe illness, hospitalization, and death. And these first-generation vaccines do great at that. There may be a second-generation vaccine down the road or an Omicron-specific variant, but I think right now, I think the boosting policy we have, I think, is sufficient and really should be emphasized that it's people that are at high risk for severe disease, hospitalization, and death, those above the age of 65, those with comorbid conditions. That's where we really want to get people boosted today.
All right, Dr. Amish Adalja, we appreciate your perspective today. Thank you.
Thank you.